Is our roll call.
All right. Carmen?
Here.
Lisette is absent today. Pete?
Here.
Brianna?
Here.
Mary Beth? Maverick?
Here.
Martin.
Here.
So we have quorum.
All right, next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, our next item is the approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Anybody want a second?
Second.
All right.
All right. I have Mary Beth and Brianna. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5 plus 2. 4 plus 2.
Right. Item 2, Spotlight the Coastside Way. We are here to celebrate Pilarcitos High School. Looks like we're recognizing Suzanne Pendergast for outstanding contributions. All right.
Yeah, we'll have our interim assistant superintendent, Mr. Israel Castillo, come up.
Good evening, Madam President Daniel, esteemed board members, Superintendent Dr. Miramontes, fellow colleagues, community and staff. Tonight, I have the distinct honor to present the certificate of recognition to a truly remarkable and responsible individual. Suzanne Pendergast is very helpful supporting Pilarcitos High School in countless ways, serving as our health tech, facility manager, counselor, administrator designee, and providing invaluable support not only to the Student Services Department, but also to the Pilarcitos students and staff. Thank you, Susan, for all your great work. And congratulations on this great certificate of recognition.
Thank you.
I'm going to walk you something.
This takes us to item 2B, the Pilarcitos High School presentation.
Good evening. My name is David Jones, principal of Pilarcitos High School, and
I am Lisette Bendaña, lead teacher and math and science teacher as well.
And this evening I'm honored to share the story of Pilarcitos, a place where all students have the opportunity to dream and to achieve. And tonight I will briefly highlight who we are, what we do, and how we continue to support every student on their path to graduation and beyond. Let me see. Oh, okay. All right, here we go. So Pilarcitos is not just a school, it's truly a family. Our team is made up of Lisette, she just was up here and introduced herself, Dudley Hughes, Molly Schauer, Martina Reese, Suzanne Pendergast, who you got to meet. I was trying to have her do a speech, but she didn't want to. Lauren Hicks, and Magdalena Carrillo and Miguel Castro. And each of them brings an incredible dedication, creativity, and compassion to the work of helping our students re-engage in their education. We operate as one team, supporting one another and our students academically, socially, and emotionally. Like last month, I have an acronym for you in a few minutes. Okay, about Pelecitos. Pelecitos is a WASC accredited continuation high school that serves students who are credit deficient, who thrive in a smaller, more personalized environment. Every student receives an individualized education plan tailored to their needs and goals. We also host the district's independent study program, both full-time and course-based hybrid models for grades 6 through 12. One of our signature components is our restorative practices program through Coyote Circle, where students develop empathy, communication, and problem-solving skills. The goal is not just to help students graduate, but to equip them with tools for life. Next slide. I don't know if you can read that, but I'll read it. I have it up here, and I'll read it out to you guys. Our school plan for student achievement, SIPSA, guides our daily work and ensures that our goals align with district and state priorities. Okay, so goal number 1, and I can't even read it, but I'll read goal number 1, focuses on outreach and graduation, making sure we find and re-engage students who aren't attending and support them to completion of their high school up to their graduation. Goal number 2 emphasizes literacy and leadership, preparing students to be college and career ready. Goal number 3 speaks to collaboration, students, staff, and parents working hand in hand to remove barriers to engagement. And goal number 4 centers on attendance and school climate, creating a welcoming and safe environment that encourages consistent participation. Together, these goals build a foundation where our students can succeed both academically and personally. Okay, our data, here's a snapshot of our current student population. Up here we have 32 students, but as of today, I believe we're up to 38 students. At Pelecitos, am I right, Susie, 38? 36. We have 36 students at Pelecitos, and I believe our independent study numbers have gone up as well. Our demographics show that 19%, approximately 19% are English learners, 38% are students with disabilities. This number is double compared to traditional high schools. 38% are socioeconomically disadvantaged, and about 3% of our students are experiencing homelessness. Last year, our graduation rate was 65% overall, with 76% for Hispanic Latino students. These numbers reflect both our challenges and our progress, and they remind us why we focus on our relationships with the students, their attendance and engagement, and why their engagement is so critical. Now I'm going to ask Lisette to share the second part of the presentation.
In addition to content classes such as history, algebra, and English, as well as students do classes on Edgenuity, we also offer experiential learning at Pelecitos High School. And it's very intentional. It's not just like summer camp. The intention is for our students to be connected to our community, not just the people in our community, but the land, the environment here. So for example, this class is the Monarch Mystery class. We go out to the Wave Crest area. This class was inspired by a substitute teacher who told me when he grew up here, there were thousands, if not millions, of monarchs in that grove. I've been doing this class for 8 years. The most we've seen is maybe 100, and 1 year we saw only 1. So we're excited this year because they've done some work over at the Wavecrest Grove over there. So we're excited to compare the data for the last few years. There also is a class where we go to Francis Beach, or as the locals call it, Kelly Beach. And we work with volunteers at the state park who are mostly retired people. And that's a connection, intergenerational connection that our students get with the older community here. But we remove invasive species and we put back the native plants. This class has been going on for 2 years now, and this is we call it horse class, but it is a class where the students not only get to learn about being around horses, how to care about horses, they also get that social emotional experience with the horses as well. That is led by our teacher, Molly Shower. We love this class very much, and we like to continue it for a long time and grow it. The woodworking class, OMG. Mr. Jones is a true leader in every way. A lot of times principals get bogged down in administrative things, and the instructional leadership piece, they don't always get that chance to be that. And Mr. David has made sure that he is an instructional leader at our campus, and we could see it in our woodworking class. Every Monday and Friday, he works with a group of different students, and they use design principles as well as carpentry skills to create furniture that we will use as fundraising pieces for our school. I can't see that one. Oh. Last year, we started an amazing partnership with Elkis Ranch. It was a continuation of a partnership that we had with Potrero Nuevo Farm on Tunitas Creek. After that ended, Elkis Ranch swooped in, saved the day, and continued our agricultural leadership goal with giving our students an opportunity to learn all about the ranch and then present to the students of El Granada. This is another program we hope to grow to be a full-year program. And there's a few more that aren't there that I did want to mention. We have a mural class. If you visit Pilarcitos High School, you're going to see some amazing murals. That's led by a local artist named Ellen Silva. Martina Reese also teaches art. She's a licensed art therapist as well as our educational specialist. Dudley Hughes is a rock star when he's not a teacher. So he teaches a music class, and Molly Shower teaches 2 really amazing classes, pickleball, which is very popular, as well as a hiking class this year. And she's going to partner with the San Francisco, I'm forgetting the name, something commission, Public Utilities Commission, who are the people who own Pilarcitos Lake. And the final for hiking class is they are going to be led by one of the docents of Pilarcitos Lake, and they are going to get a behind the scenes. They're going to get to go all the way up to the dam for Pilarcitos Lake. I know you didn't know that, Martine. He's in that class. So that's going to be the final exam for that class. Thank you.
I'd like to enroll in that class, just FYI.
Okay, let's see. I believe that was it. We're at the thank you slide. So I thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions for us? Yeah, we're done.
Thank you both so much. I just wanted to highlight, as someone who has received the benefits of the woodworking class, El Granada PTO purchase, the picnic tables, and I'm over the moon that you brought it over to Pilarcitos and are continuing that. So thank you very much. And Martin had it shared last semester, the Elkis Ranch. I had last year a 4th grader at El Granada, and my husband happened to be on that field trip and came home with he loved how the kids were leading it. He thought everyone did such a great job. He thought the kids were so mature. I also would love for that to continue and be greater. So thank you for that. And then I had just one question. If a student doesn't graduate, then what? Are they continuing, or like what happens?
We have a saying, once a coyote, always a coyote. And that means many things. So for the students who don't graduate, they can continue with La Costa. They can also, sometimes I push them to getting the high school equivalency. Sometimes they're not ready and they come back when they're 24, 25, 26, 28, 30. And we're always there for them no matter what.
I got a couple questions. I know that you said a little bit about how our special ed students there are disproportionately high. And I know we've talked about this in years past, and maybe this is more of a question for Half Moon Bay High School, but I think the reason that we're worried about is that they're not being served properly at Half Moon Bay High School. Do you have any insight or thoughts or plans to help with that? Or I'm just curious if you can expand on that at all.
Last year, Half Moon Bay High School started a program for their SPED students, which they call the COVE, and I forget what the acronym stands for. So they're year 2 in the COVE, and I think it'll take a few years for us to see the numbers change as they get their program more fine-tuned as the year. So there has been an attempt to address this, and we're still trying to problem solve this. And hopefully we can start seeing the change in the next few years.
Okay, thanks for that. And then the independent study kids, the 15 independent study kids, those are actually Half Moon Bay High School students, is that correct? And I'm surprised there's only 15. Is that way down?
Yes, that is way down. There's different reasons for that. Partly we now have the COVE, so they can be get not quite independent study, but course-based independent study model through Half Moon Bay High School and not have to come through independent study. But this is the time of year in the fall when that number is going to jump up. That's it's a time for various reasons that we don't need to go into, but the fall is a time when, especially November, December, January, getting into winter, we start to get more requests.
And is there a upper limit on how many kids can be in that?
Yes, the limit is 42.
Oh, good. We've got a lot of room.
And that's the same for our enrollment for Pelecitos High School, 42.
42 for independents, 42 for Pelecitos. Oh, that's great. And then I know some kids in the past have used that independent study as kind of a way to do concurrent enrollment, like a hybrid, concurrent enrollment, go to the high school, do some independent study. Is that still an option? For our kids still doing that?
Yes, and that might be why, as you see in the number, is a little bit lower. Half Moon Bay High School has been more accommodating for students to do concurrent enrollment, as well as allow them to be in the COVE. So they can do that at both high schools.
So it's kind of, why you're getting more special ed students too. Maybe there weren't opportunities there at the high school that are happening now. So interesting. Okay, thank you.
So I have thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it, and for your work. I have a couple questions. I am interested in the numbers. How do they compare to other years? Are there any numbers that are significantly different? Are these generally what these numbers are from year to year?
You're very astute. This year, we had lower enrollment, and we are trying to figure out why. We've actually changed the way that we are doing the student placement to address that. So usually, and especially when I first started 10 years ago, and Dudley Hughes is our most senior member, he started in the 90s, there used to be wait lists to get into Pilarcitos. So we're not sure why there's that change, but thanks to our wonderful Suzanne, we are scouring the list of credit deficient students so that we could get more students in. And one of our goals is not just, right now we're targeting the seniors because it's urgent, but we'd like to start getting more 10th graders so that we can boomerang them back to Half Moon Bay High School to graduate there.
Got it. And so that would be sort of maybe a sub goal that somebody might start with you, but then end at Half Moon Bay High School. Then you mentioned that this is a time of year where you might see more independent study. Will you hit the 42, or that's not necessarily a guaranteed year to year?
We're going to hit the 42.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it.
So you think there'll be a waiting list then after, by the end of the year?
Possibly. I will see. We're boomeranging some kids back, so we might not have a waiting list.
And then I want to find a delicate way of asking this, but do you feel that the current focus on immigration has impacted enrollment?
No, but I will say just a small percent, it affects attendance because of fear.
Sure. Right. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
I just want to reiterate, I had one of my 6 siblings, or I should say 5 siblings, brothers, I should say, was an alt ed student. And I know that I've been over at Pilarcitos numerous times. Beginning of the school year, I got a chance to visit, and I got to see these guys in action, sitting side by side as a team, and just having these conversations with students before they started. We don't wait until conference starts. 8-10 weeks into the school year, they start early. They want to get those relationships. They want to continue those relationships, connect with those students, right? And so there are different paths to graduating from high school, and it's okay, right? And it's okay. That's the key, is that we continue to support students, right, to dream and achieve. And I just want to thank you and your teammates, your colleagues, I should say, because it is a very close unit. And I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. All right, this takes us to item 2C, Student Board Members Report. Number 1, Half Moon Bay High School.
Hi, I'm Maverick. First off, just want to say sorry I wasn't at the last meeting. I had a football game I was playing in against Sacred Heart Prep, so couldn't be here, but I'll try to beat everyone after that. The school year is in full swing now. It's kind of feel like classes have ramped up. Everything's going strong. Homecoming week is happening right now. Leadership has introduced a new point system to homecoming week, which has made the engagement and spirit and just everything around the school kind of increase. Like, there's a giant relay, the dance, a lot of different items, and they're worth points, and whichever grade gets the most points will be the winner and gets like a trophy they can put in any class. So that's been fun. There's been dress up days, and that kind of goes with the points. Whichever class has the most dress up, they get the most points. Days have been 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and tomorrow is orange and black. So it's been fun. I've definitely enjoyed dressing up. It kind of brings a fun vibe to the school. Also, there was a rock, paper, scissors bead game. That was fun. You just challenge anyone, rock, paper, scissors. If you win, you get their beads. If you lose, you give them their bead. It's fun. And also, the giant relay was yesterday. That I had a lot of fun. I participated in, and it was actually a little controversial. Originally, the juniors got first, the freshmen got second, seniors third, and sophomores fourth. But after video replay review, it looks like some classes didn't follow the rules. The freshmen and the juniors skipped a station. Yep, so they got disqualified. Seniors got first, the sophomores got second, and they're going to be doing a third place challenge in the quad tomorrow at break. So that will be fun. The homecoming football game is tomorrow, and the assembly, I'm going to be in the assembly. I'm taking part in the class dance, and that should be fun. I'm excited for it. I think our dance will win, but you never know. And I'm also on the homecoming court. I was nominated, so that should be fun. Besides that, there's not too much else. Leadership's been primarily focused on homecoming, and after that, we can kind of relax a little bit and work on some other stuff. The only other thing I have to say, a few kids have come up to me around school and asked for trash cans along the hill. And like, not just like 1 or 2, I think I counted 8 or 9 kids have asked me about this. And it's just because so many kids go down for lunch, obviously because we have open campus, and the trash can, like, it's a huge gap. They're eating their food. They have nothing to do with it. And high school kids are not amazing with holding onto their trash all the way up, because the first trash can is at the split of the roads where you go to the upper lot or you can go up to the campus. And there's just a lot of trash on the hill because kids don't want to walk that way with the trash. So a lot of people have asked for that, and I just wanted to bring that up and think it would be a good idea to add a few trash cans along the hill. But yeah, that's it for me.
We can do that.
Yeah, that would be good. And that's it for me. I hope everyone has a great October, and I'll see you guys in November.
Thank you, Maverick. Martine from Pilarcitos High School.
Hello, Martin. Don't have much to say since most of it was already said. But yeah, we have the woodworking class led by Mr. Jones. And everything that I could say got said already. Okay.
Tell us what like your favorite is, or like.
I don't do woodworking class, but the students that do, there's a lot of students in there, as you saw in the picture. They love it, and it's probably like one of the most active classes. Like, people don't miss out on it. And then there's the Elkis Ranch program that started up yesterday. It's my favorite. It goes from October all the way to January. It was good last year, and it's great this year. There's new students in there, and they all seem really nice, and there's more coming soon, more joining in that class soon, and we hope that we can continue to have this because it is very fun. And then there's horse class, and something about horse class that I want to bring up is that we are having an issue with it because the instructor used to do it for free, and they are no longer doing it for free. And we are trying to get funding so we can continue to have horse class every year. And we're just trying to figure out how to do that.
Thank you. We'll talk, Mr. Jones. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. All right, that takes us to number 3, general business. We have our authorization to proceed with design development phase 1 of construction at Half Moon Bay High School.
Board members, tonight, Drew Gammett, our bond program fiscal director, will present the phase 1 implementation strategy for Measure K bond program at Half Moon Bay High School. This information will serve as the foundation for a request for proposals to architectural firms, allowing them to provide detailed cost estimates and refined project approaches. He will also update you on the successful completion of our architectural firm interview process conducted yesterday, October 8th, which has established a qualified pool of design professionals ready to develop these concepts further. Tonight's presentation represents an important step in our planning process, ensuring we have clear parameters and expectations as we move forward with formal proposals that will ultimately shape and transform our high school facilities. Drew?
Good evening, Board President Daniel, and members of the Board of Education, Dr. Miramontes and staff. Thank you for this opportunity to address you on phase 1 of construction at Half Moon Bay High School. Before I begin, I would just like to point out we are moving very fast in this entire process. I'm going to make a few changes on some of the things that are on this presentation. I would just want to point that out to you guys, just some recommended things that are going to be different just because our information is coming so fast. The interviews that Dr. Miramontes referred to happened yesterday, so we're moving quickly. So you asked, and so I wanted to include this time a picture of the campus, or the part of the campus that we're looking to impact here. Specifically, this part of the campus is what's in the proposal that we took in information from our last meeting. So you can see Building G, what we're talking about. You can see where the pool is located, which we are also talking about. So phase 1, what we are looking for in terms of guidance would be the support of this plan, where we would be going to our architectural partners that will come from the interviews that we did yesterday. to help us begin the design process and provide us with proposals for developing this phase. So the pool and the Building G construction, we would start with those. We would probably end up staggering those from starting with Building G and then moving into the pool. This method of going through the modernization of that site would prioritize special education facilities and the aquatics program restoration. It balances community or educational needs with community access, and the estimated timeline would be around 24 to 30 months to begin construction. I wanted to be clear on that. So what are we looking at? So it would be the demolition of Building G to remove that existing classroom capacity. Right now, after a cursory review of what classes are in those buildings and looking at what we would potentially do, especially if Building A follows this, we would be looking to locate 9 portable units, temporary classrooms on the campus. The way that we look at that is there is a general infrastructure condition that you have to create where you're going to put those. You have to. It's not necessarily a permanent foundation in the way that, for example, this building has one. But we would just need to set things up, make sure there's electricity for the ones that have water. We would need to make sure we're running water to those. So that's really what we're talking about, temporary walkways. So that's a single expenditure of approximately $100,000 to $150,000 to put those temporary classrooms in place. Then we're looking at the actual annual rental costs of 9 units. These are estimations that were provided to us from Vanner and come basically based on the experience that we've had with the temporary classrooms over at El Granada. Same concept. We're looking at a 2.5-year investment into the temporary housing, and as you can see, temporary housing can be a very expensive part of this process. But it is necessary because we're going to keep running the high school while we're doing this construction. Right now, what we're looking at would be sometime in Q1 of 2026, looking to have something together for DSA submission. It may not be the entire phase of the project. As Dr. Miramontes stated in our last meeting, it's important to do multiple things at the same time. So we're going to be looking for projects, specifically probably projects related to infrastructure, projects that can be done on some of the other parts of the campus that are small, that aren't necessarily going to require a complete shutdown in order to complete. Those are the types of projects that we're going to look to get going on and get into the system as fast as possible, so that those things aren't lingering as we go through. As we're expanding the campus, especially, I can't overemphasize the importance that utilities are going to play in all of this. Especially, I was talking to some of our partners earlier today. If we are looking to bring in additional electricity to the high school from PG&E, the standard timeline right now for permitting and approval and its equipment that we would be leasing from PG&E, that's about a 2-year process. So that's just difficult in any scenario. But we know that we're going to need to do that because as a part of everything that we're doing, of course, there's the technology upgrades. Our classrooms are going to have more plugs in them. We're going to have new HVAC systems on there. More efficient HVAC systems. The pool equipment and the stuff that's going to run the pool is going to be significantly more efficient than it is right now, but it's still going to be more. We're still going to need more electricity. So things like that are the types of things that we're looking to potentially be spinning up. And as you can see right now, I'm including a Q4 for active construction 2026 through 2028. Again, that is only for this phase of the project. We would likely phase in other phases on top. So we're going to have multiple things going at the same time. And here I put it in there. So campus-wide utility upgrades and gymnasium minor modernizations. And of course, one of the advantages of bringing in an architectural pool on this is that we're going to get their input on these things. We're going to need some engineers that are going to help us specifically with those utility upgrades, because a lot of that stuff is buried, it's underground, and so we're going to need some of their expertise to evaluate what is actually going on.
And if I can just my experience in redoing 7 schools in my previous district, you think it says a minor project. You don't know if it's a minor project for utilities until you uncover what's there. What may seem like a minor project may be a major project. So just want to make sure that that's very clear, that our utilities are probably 30 to 50 years old. And so we don't really know what that looks like. When you start to dig up and see things, you discover other things. We learned that when we were putting Ethernet cable, Cat 6, Cat 10, I forgot what it was, through the pipes, and we assumed that there was space in the pipes. There was no space in the pipes. We had to redo all the lines, redo all the pipes, so that took a little bit longer. So just FYI.
So then that would be followed up with potentially what would be a phase 2. I wanted to outline that for all of you all. The design wouldn't even begin until 2027 on that particular project. The impact would definitely bring online all of the new classrooms. So that would involve then potentially a temporary phase, or a phase out of the temporary classrooms. So then we could just use what is existing on the campus moving forward. And then the phase 2 investment would be $24.7 million. So this process was kind of blew my mind. I was really, when we entered into the process, I was thinking, we need, if we just get 10, maybe 11 firms, great. That we're going to call that success, because that is a lot. I mean, you know, that'll be great. And then they came in, and we got 21. So, thankfully, because I read the 21. Ramon read the 21, Jennifer read the 21, and they didn't kill me. It was great. They didn't, it was nice. There were threats, but there's nothing serious. But so we were really excited to get this many firms submitting. It was just over the top. Yeah, and then we interviewed 6 firms yesterday. Right now, the next process, just like any other interviews, if you're hiring a teacher, an instructional aide, or hiring a firm, we need to do reference checks. And I'm not a fan of taking the people that the person gives me. Oh, call these people. I'm going to just kind of go through. I have a list of those construction projects, and I'm going to be reaching out to other districts, other superintendents, CBOs, and myself to make sure that we vet the firms that we would eventually be looking at. And we're going to create a qualified pool of a to be determined number of firms that would be in it. But the idea would be to rather than when we're looking for a proposal, like the proposal for design for phase 1, we're not submitting it to everyone. We're submitting it to the to be determined amount of firms that are in our pool. So next steps, and this is where I'm going to make a little bit of a change. I think I'm going to need more time to do the reference checks on the firms that we're looking at. So we're not going to be able to issue a request for proposals based on the phase 1 that's listed here by October 15th. We're probably going to push that into November. We are also going to bring back to the November board meeting that pool of architects for you to review and to question us on as to why we're picking the firms that we are. So you'll be involved in that process and have you approve that. Once that approval is formally done in November, then we'll go ahead and issue the request for proposals and evaluate those. We are still planning on doing the community input sessions, and that final DSA submission target of May 2026 is still good. So even though we're going to push things back a little, we're still looking at that as a potential target. So there you go. So the budget status and the financial controls. So the Series A that was issued from our school bonds, and this is coming from the previous presentation, these numbers. We have $15 million minus current expenses. We have a future series that would be Series B sales of bonds that would potentially be done in 2027. The cost for all of the expenses for just phase one is $32 million plus the cost for the temporary classrooms. This is creating an issue that we're going to have to look at in terms of the timing and the phase, that we're going to have to work with both our architects and our design people on how we're going to schedule those expenditures, plus talking with our bond finance people to look at how that spend down is going to happen, because there's going to be a little bit of a gap before that Series B kicks in. So we're going to have some conversation with some people to make sure that our cash flows are correct on this program, so that we're always going to have cash in the bank running. There are some ways to cover those gaps. Sometimes you can do interfund borrowing, some other things that we could do, but we haven't really talked about that. So we'll develop a strategy as we get farther into that. And especially because right now, the numbers that we have are very loose, and the point of having the architects and the engineers looking at the site, really evaluating, starting to put things into real costs, is to tighten up on these numbers.
I also just want to interject that we need to make sure that we are in good fiscal standing. We talk there about Series B 2027. That stuff the money will be there January 1st, I believe, of 2027, but the process starts sooner of us selling our bonds. I can't emphasize enough that a reserve needs to be closer to what our board policy is. So we'll be bringing this back probably November, December, talk about that Fund 40. I want to set the district up in a great spot so our taxpayers aren't paying more than they need to pay, because we know the cost of escalation is going to eat us up. So that's just want to reiterate that piece as well.
Okay. So what we're recommending to you all is to definitely receive and file this phase one implementation update. We would like authorization from you to proceed with moving towards creating an RFP around our phase one option. And we will come back in January with design contract recommendations. And so, and then we're going to also at that time, we'll have a better idea about the temporary classrooms. But right now, that's where things stand. Thank you. And do you have any questions?
This is an action item, so we need motion and second.
Sorry.
Oh, so moved. Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Hey, before we get into questions about it, can I just make a comment on the process so far? When I read the memo was pretty strongly worded about responding directly to the board's direction. And I think, last meeting too, I wasn't very prepared because I just seen it right then about making a big decision on that. And I always think, like, as a board member, when I'm getting pressure from the public to do one thing, that I always stop and think, is this what's best for the kids academically, right? That's what we're trying to do. And yes, we need pools to support kids, academically and in other ways, and to go out in the real world. So I always try to look at that. But I think that's really important when we look at this, because the decision we were making was either having a pool and special ed and doing 6 classrooms, is it 6? Versus doing 9 classrooms with, 9 classrooms of 35 people. And I think I, let this be known a little bit last time that I was leaning towards that. And then to see a really strongly worded memo about, responding directly to the board's direction. Well, I think, probably Brianna and Pete, I think were good with that. But then I don't know what Carmen thought. Lisette wasn't there. I was kind of going the other way. So I just wanted to make a comment on that.
Sure.
that, you know, if we're going to write really strong language around we're taking direction from the board, that we better have direction from the board, and I don't really feel like we did that last time, so I just want to make a comment on that. And then along with that, I was also thinking about the SPED kids too, and, you know, saying like, oh, they get moved and then they don't have to be moved for so long and they can get moved back sooner. But you could look at it another way too, is you could say, maybe some of those kids will end up getting moved twice that maybe would have only had to get moved once. So maybe it's not in their best interest. So I just feel like we didn't really have time to go down that rabbit hole. And I'm okay with all this. I'm glad we're moving along quickly. But if we're going to make a big thing that this is what the board told us to do, then we better have a better board discussion about that and know what's going on. So a couple other things. I can come back to these questions, but I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. A couple other things just on the when we're doing the whole plan, just to be thinking about, I know I keep bringing this up every time, but we originally, the plan before was to put the buses up there and have the chargers for the buses up there, and also do a central kitchen up at the high school too. If these things aren't happening, if we decide not to do them, that's fine, or if we decide, but I just want to keep in mind that this was the plan before because we had other things going on at the district office. But, so just keep that in mind. And then solar, are we looking at solar when you're talking about the electricity and all the power we're going to need? You know, maybe if we're putting solar on these buildings, that might help offset some of that. Okay, I didn't know if we're looking at that. And then,
Can I just answer two of those, because I'm going to have a hard time remembering them all.
You're going too fast.
So looking up there, so Building F is still on the facility master plan. So at some point, once we're beyond these two phases, as ever, you know, in whatever iteration we come to, once we've got the designs, once we've got everything from the architects, then that's going to be an ongoing conversation. You know, what are we going to hit next?
Perfect.
And so
I figured, but
yeah, so that's,
you're thinking about it. That's all I want.
no. So I would say that about Building F. And this is why what was the other question?
Sorry, then my next thing was the solar.
Solar. So solar is not part of the facility master plan. So that wouldn't be something that we would be looking at necessarily. However, facility master plans, I would say, much like SIPSAs or safety plans, they're living documents.
I was just explaining to Brianna, leaning over, like when we do these new buildings, we should look at, I've seen where they actually put solar on top of the buildings.
That's what I was thinking about. Well, and like El Granada, we ran out of money to do solar, but we set them up so that we could add it to the roofs easily. So if we don't have the money to do the solar, I think, you know, we should at least do that. And then my last comment, and then I'll let someone else talk, was of the pool. Originally, when the pool people came to me, they had said, we're going to pay for this. Will you give us the land? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure we can work that out. I mean, I'm not in charge here, but but now I'm seeing $15 million up there. So I don't know, did things change with that?
So as far as the facility master plan, the number that I'm kind of going back to and referring to is always going to be specifically what's in the facility master plan, because that's what you guys have adopted. Now, I know that Dr. Miramontes, well, Dr. Miramontes is in the process of, you know, working with that group. They've come and provided us amazing input, and we're starting to build up a program where we can hopefully get some fundraising, some community donors, some things like that would support that delta between what they were showing up there with the pool existing still behind the gymnasium, and then a second teaching pool.
Well, my understanding was that when this first came up and they wanted to do the pool, is they were going to do both of them. They were going to do everything. And they said, like, look, we'll figure out the money, but we just need a place to put it. So I don't know. I haven't kept up with it, but I know you guys will just. Oh, okay.
Well, I think
Maybe I was
referring.
pre.
Yeah, she's referring before this board. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it wasn't a meeting, it was just people came to me personally, so.
And I
But I
think-
don't know, maybe things have changed because I haven't kept up with it, so.
Yeah, I think when again, I've been here for 8, 9 months, and all I've heard is that high school has not had any TLC in over 30 years, and we've been talking about this pool for 30 years. We're gonna need, as I've mentioned before, we're gonna need another bond to finish everything we need to do it right, right? And I've mentioned that, there's a rationale of having a teaching pool there for all students, right? We live on the coast side. I've heard that over and over. I was the big bad wolf that stopped all the aquatic programs this summer for aquatic safety. I want to make sure that we have a pool, but we also have all the other facilities that we need in that school site, right? We met with the architectural firms, and over during those conferences, right, in your master plan, yeah, you've got buildings H and some of the, not H, but, Drew, can you go down a little bit more?
Yeah, that would be.
The minor, the ones that where, I think Mr. John Kerry, I think you're in one of the smaller classrooms, right? Are you in a small classroom or no?
There we go.
Oh, okay, he's in a big classroom. So Drew, keep going down to the B, is B and C. They talked about, not C and D actually is what it was. They talked about some of these classrooms here, and there's a threshold that the state architects says not worth modernizing, tear them down and build up, right? And so, again, I'm learning all this stuff about seismic upgrades and any opportunity we can go out to for the pool, if we get more than what we ask for, right, that would be huge. And I think this community will respond, and we could use that towards the pool, which means we can use some of the other money towards other things. We're also trying to be super creative. I've mentioned to the board that, we have an opportunity to apply for a CTE grant because in our facilities master plan, we're building CTE classrooms. It's a matching grant that the state has for $3 million, as long as we have a facilities master plan, and we have one. And so we're going to utilize every opportunity to maximize our dollars and stretch them as far as they can go. We have to start somewhere. I was the one who told Drew I assumed that the board felt one way over the other. I wanted input from you guys about what we can do here and do it right. Like I said, there's no right or wrong place, but if I'm going to be asked to go out and work with our supervisors, our assembly members, our senators, et cetera, and ask, I need to start now, right? And the other thing is, if we don't build this pool in phase 1 or even phase 2, we're not going to get more bond because this community has waited and waited and waited and waited. And so I get a lot of asks. I get pickleball. I get asked to pay for lunch by Drew all the time. I'm teasing. I get a lot of asks, but I think there's a way we can do this. Our facilities are much better shape now, except for the high school, right? Except for the high school. So now's the time. This next phase is going to be real crazy because this is where we had the facilities master plan, but now you're going to get down to the nitty gritty, and we're going to ask our teachers, what do you actually need in the classroom? That design phase takes forever, but we will scope out carpet, cabinets, space, outlets, utility, everything, right? I mean, this is the next phase, and we got to start somewhere. So the faster we can get rolling on this thing, I think the better off we'll be. And I'll end with that.
Yeah, I would just also add, I think the design in conjunction with the teachers for what is the Half Moon Bay High School standard classroom is going to be a really critical process, because that is really going to drive a lot of what we're doing. So I think identifying what goes on in between those four walls is going to be really key for a standard classroom. Now, obviously, science lab, different thing, CTE, different thing, but for a standard classroom, that'll be really important. Teachers' input is going to be invaluable.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple questions. I guess before I ask the question, just to reiterate, my understanding of the pool situation is that if the district commits to building a pool, then other community supports in different ways could then step up to augment what we commit to build. That's my understanding of it. But we have to make that initial investment. And I, for what it's worth, I wholeheartedly agree that it should be in phase one, because the community is chomping at the bit for a new pool. So it makes sense. Okay, my questions. I need you to translate for me. In terms of the timeline, the way to understand this is, most of this makes sense to me,
Okay.
but the way that I should be thinking about this is that essentially by spring, we want to have the basis of the plans for phase one settled, and then we'll move forward to actually start the process of construction. So we're talking about getting input. Oh, go ahead, please.
Sorry, yeah, to start design,
Design.
not construction.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well, let me ask clarification on that. So by spring, we get input, we make some final decisions, and then the architects start to design. That is the phase where we want to make sure we have our ducks in a row. Because if we make a change at that stage, it will cost us more money. Is that the way to think about that?
If we make a change outside of that phase, yeah.
Okay.
So you can, so we're all, I mean, we do make a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And some of them are necessary. You go over to El Granada, you look at the way the parking lot looks right now, and there's some temporary fencing up. Well, the reason the temporary fencing is up is because when the parking lot was drawn over to where it's stopping, there was an unforeseen change in elevation that triggered, outside of our control, it's just, this is what they do. DSA comes in and goes, nope, not okay, you need to put a guardrail up there. So something like that is going to happen in the process.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And especially when we're dealing with utilities that are buried, something's going to happen. But everything else, as tightly as we can do it, so we want to make sure that our architects gather input, that they put together a competent design, something that when we look at, it makes sense to us, but then we want to give it to a contractor.
Yeah.
And say, look at this, as you see how it's written, can you build it?
Got it.
And they're going to go through every single item to make sure that they can build it. And so that is really the mechanism that we're going to use to make those changes. We want to be able to make changes late, but we don't want to make them just willy-nilly. Like, there needs to be a very tight set of drawings to go off of.
But in terms of helping the community understand how things are going to work, the way that we can communicate this is that between now and the spring, we're going to be identifying the architectural firm. We're going to be soliciting input, and then beginning the process to design things. And then by the spring, sort of, that's when the rubber hits the road. We actually have plans, and then we're moving forward with an idea. That's the way to think about that.
That's a good overarching way to think about it.
Yeah, for phase one.
Right.
Right.
Within that, we're going to have some other little moving pieces. We're going to try and, like I said, pull in a couple of smaller projects that can go as quickly as possible. And we're not sure what those are. It's going to, again, take a broader conversation. But out for the normal bulk of the project, yes.
Awesome. Second question is about cash flow. That's super interesting to learn about, and I had not thought about it until you brought it up. So with these series, the bond series, are they set in stone? Are those is the timing negotiable? So, for example, if we wanted to go earlier with Series B, do we have that freedom?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay.
Because part of what the financial advisors are related to the bond is what they're going to be doing is they're going to be looking at the market. What's the market doing so that we can maximize the money. We're going to give them what we're projecting as in terms of cash flow. They're going to look at that. They're going to decide, okay, does it make sense to sell the bonds so that the cash is maintained only by the sale of bonds, or do we use other instruments, certificate of deposit, other things like that to kind of bridge that gap? We don't know what that answer is yet.
Okay.
And that'll be somewhat determined, but as we get, somewhat determined as we build out the projects and we have a better idea of what the real dollars and cents budgets are behind these things. But it's going to be also dependent on some external things that we don't have control over. So there may be a change in that.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this. Okay, so on the next steps and timeline that you said some of those dates are changing. What is design contracts versus design development?
So we have to have so when we put out the request for proposals and we say, we'll add as much specificity as we can on what we would like to see happen. So just as an example, building G, phase, new pool. Let's say that it's the expanded version of the pool, which I think was just under 17 million. So let's say we're doing all of that. They're going to give us proposals, and they're going to say, okay, we think you're in order to achieve this, you're going to need this type of inspection, surveys, all the things that we have to do to make it happen. They're going to use this many hours in terms of designing, and then we're going to come back to you, just like all the other contracts, with an amount not to exceed whatever that is. We'll give them an opportunity to explain the detail in the proposal, and then that's when you'll vote on it. And certainly if you want to have, when we're getting closer to that, and you'll see it'll be communicated to you, like, hey, these types of things are coming, watch out. If we need to have an additional meeting, if we want to start an hour early like we did with the other proposal and just do a deeper dive just on that topic, we can completely do that, whatever is the pleasure of the board.
Okay, because there are some things that it's the community input after that design contract, though before design development, that I want to make sure that the input, it's like not too far in. Class sizes, the like physical classroom size is something I really want to make sure that we do correctly, and that's going to affect price and how many classrooms and things. So I know we've talked about the standard size, but there's something, whether we're like used to, or that bookshelves are included, just like even my 5th grader was like, love my new classroom at El Granada, but it's small. And it, like, walking in there, it is definitely smaller than we're used to, even though it's standard. So I just want to make sure at the high school that we're not going bigger than necessary, but appropriately sized. No matter what someone else says the right size is, that it's the right size for us when we're creating those.
Sure, and that's why I would say, because when you're really, these are going to be huge contracts, no offense, but they're going to be a lot bigger than a lot of other things. So if just for your own comfort, when you're reviewing these types of things, if we need to do board study
Okay.
sessions, and the way we did like the last study session was kind of like an extended presentation, and then you guys had a chance to talk. That's not the only way we need to do, we can do it. We can agendize a special Board of Education meeting, and we can sit down and we can go through those things.
Okay.
For those of you, and as long as it's agendized, even if not everyone is in attendance, we can sit there. It's a public meeting. People can come. We can watch what we're doing, but we can go through and have the architects there, and you can really, go through and break those things apart.
Okay.
We can, if you have specific requests in terms of like, we need to see lists of expenditures, you guys want to see the detail, and then you want to see, how the drawings work. You want to see 3D renderings of things. There's lots of options that we can do. We can work with our architectural partner, whoever it is that we accept for that contract, to provide you with what you need to say, yes, spend $31 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Choosing archetype PG. RFPs. So so at El Granada, the parking lot kind of became its like own thing when we submitted to DSA. I'm wondering if it would be fruitful to have the pool be separate, just in case there are changes that we want based on community partners giving or not giving, and just so that doesn't hold or change anything. And it feels very similar to the parking lot in some ways, and so that even if they're submitted simultaneously, the one wouldn't affect the other in DSA or whatever when we're moving forward.
And I think that's another reason why continuing the conversation with the architectural firms is going to be so key. Because they're literally, I mean, many of them have employees that literally sit at the DSA office in Oakland and do nothing but just push paper across the desk. So they're very familiar with this process.
Okay.
The firms that we interviewed were very impressive. They're going to be able to help us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I have one more comment.
Sure.
Before I say this, I just want to say that I am going to vote yes on this, but I'm sorry. I just can't let it go. Talking about the community chomping at the bit, what you just said, I just really feel like I really do appreciate our community and all the support they've given us. And I know there isn't a lot of support for our community because we are a small town and we don't have a lot of money. But I just want to reiterate that I hope as a board that our final thought is we're doing what's best for kids. And I do think this is something that's good for kids. So I am going to vote yes, but I just think as a board, we need to be focused on what's best for kids. And hopefully that goes along with what is also best for our community, because I realize there aren't a lot of, there are no pickleball courts. There isn't another pool. This isn't like a normal community that might have those things. But I just want to make sure that as a board, we're really focused on the kids and thinking about that as our bottom line.
And I totally appreciate that. And so that's why if at any time we need to, because I'm going to always try and go fast. If we need to slow it down, if we need it, that's totally
I'm
reasonable,
glad you're
totally
going fast, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm voting yes. I want to keep it moving, but.
And I will just make sure it's known that, I guess when I say community, when I think of the construction at the high school, I think of high schoolers. So the pool is all of our kids younger through. So when I think of high school construction, I am thinking of all our kids and who can learn to swim, who are doing the swim team, who just all of the things. I just say community because not all of those kids are at the high school. So to me, they seem like a broader audience.
That's a good clarification, because when you say community, I think you're talking about people in our area that don't have kids, or people in the public. I think you're talking about the public.
People who don't have kids. No, I'm thinking of our kids. For me, it's just the younger,
that's
all
your
ages.
community, right?
Yes,
That's your community.
Yes, that is
Okay,
the community.
okay.
Yeah, and I guess I want to clarify on that too. I'm definitely on the same page.
We're having a moment here.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a decision that I think is not good for the district. And the way I'm looking at this pool is that the community has to step up. And I've been very open with people. The district is going to build what the district feels like it needs to for all of our students. And that's what we're laser focused on, but there's an opportunity here for the community to contribute in a different way and to expand what we're able to do. And my thought on that is that I'm not interested in, bending on that and saying, well, this community didn't step up, the funds didn't materialize, so we'll make up the difference. In that situation, I would say no. I would say the community spoke with their, with the fact that the money didn't materialize, and therefore let's move forward as a district. So that's how I'm thinking about it. But I do want to make sure that we're creating space for that to happen, and I hope it does. Yeah.
Fair, that's all good. And I guess what I was thinking about was sheer numbers of kids at the high school that it's helping right now, right? The classrooms times, so, and also focusing on academics, but I'm on board. All good.
Very good. You bet.
This is an action item, so we are gonna do vote now. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes 4+2. Before we move to communications, I forgot to check when we were doing the approval of the agenda if you're going to request to move the consent item. So we need to do an amendment to the agenda. No.
Okay, so right now, I would like to move 2 consent items to the agenda. The approval of Code to the Future and approval of designing schools. There's just been a lot of conversation about these, and I would really like to highlight how we are moving forward with these topics so that we can discuss them.
I support that as well. I thought about.
Seconding it?
Am I seconding it? Yeah, I second that. And then I'll say my comments. I have some comments.
Okay, so this is a motion to amend the agenda and move item B from the consent, C from the consent to the general.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're doing votes. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, please say no. Passes 4+2. So now we need to do item B.
All right, that takes us to item B from the consent, approval of Code for the Future Agreement for Artificial Intelligence Program for Elementary Schools, October 13th, 2025 through August 31st, 2030. You do a motion?
The introduction first, and then we do motion.
We're starting with item 5B, correct? Okay. Code to the Future is a comprehensive solution for computer science immersion. Basically, this is an opportunity for our students to embrace the changes in our society and adapt to the Code to the Future in regards to AI. This will give us an opportunity to allow our students the opportunity to engage in what the future brings to them in the elementary. This would include students in 4th and 5th grade. This would provide them with a knowledge and skill set to work in a competitive environment. This would allow us to provide a coach that would work side by side with teachers to collaborate and ensure that the instruction is occurring during these sessions. If approved, the sessions would begin on October 13th. The program would be a 5-year commitment, with starting at this year as 0 year. Basically, this would be a hands-on project which would allow students to develop the capacity. The cycles would allow us to elevate the amount of artificial intelligence and robotics. Each session would allow students to end with a finished product and showcase their product to their families, to the community. Provide us with an understanding of how AI operates, works, and develops. So basically, they would learn the coding system. After learning the coding system, they would be able to develop their own robotics and machinery. Of course, using Legos, there wouldn't be any big machines. This is an epic opportunity for us at Cabrillo Unified to lead other districts in this new era of learning. AI is something scary, but at the same time, we need to embrace it. Students are learning a lot of AI through their own use, through their interaction with their daily activities. But I think us as leaders, it is important for us to take an opportunity to see how we can ensure that they are responsible users of technology and engaging in the instruction. There is always fear about something new coming into our learning environment, but this is already existing in our competitive workforce. We all know individuals who, before they publish something or advertise something in their own private companies, they run it through AI to ensure that it is correct. This creative way of thinking will innovate our students to enjoy learning, to foster an independence, creativity level, and to collaborate skills with other students as well. This problem solving and creative thinking of collaboration and skills will prepare our students for the future. When you break down the expense, it's an opportunity. You break it down by students over a period of 5 years. It equals an amount of $256 per student per year for the 5-year span. If we decide that the expectations of what we were looking for are not there, we could decide to break our contract with the individuals. And any questions or clarifications?
We need motion and second.
So moved.
I'll second.
So appreciate this. I've had a number of people who've reached out with some concerns about this. I just want to say at the outset that for decisions like this, I don't feel like it's my purview to make a call on whether or not a curriculum or a program is the right thing for the school district. I trust our staff to do that. My concerns, I think, are how this was implemented or how it was introduced, and making sure that this followed our regular process for ensuring that curriculum was the right step. And then also, sort of a second part to that question, was the process followed? Did we get teacher input? Did schools administrators have an input? And then the second part of that question is, how does this fold into current curriculum that already exists, we've already paid for? And so those are the two questions I just want to sort of publicly explore for myself and for the community.
So I'll answer that question. So there's a difference between curriculum, where we have state adopted curriculum, and that is where you have teachers are the largest group within that committee that selects the state adopted curriculum. This is more of a program. So I'm going to go back to some of the programs that we have here at Cabrillo Unified that schools just straight contract without coming to the board. We approve them and we go through. I think the STEAM program that is at some of the sites, the amphibian reptile, I've seen it, it's great, kids love it. That lady that comes to all 3 of our sites, same sort of thing. It's a program that I want you guys to really think about. I sit here and have been through many classrooms. We sit in the Silicon Valley, high-tech, high-paying jobs, and we are behind in the area of technology. We really are. I think we've had conversations about the old Chromebooks that students have, that we don't have a plan. You're laughing, Maverick, right? Yeah, so we have Chromebooks. We don't have a game plan. We should have a game plan. This board should say, we're going to put $150,000. We support you every year so that every year we've got the technology pieces. I had a conversation with John Carey about the technology needs at the high school. We adapted. We talked to Mr. Boyson and said, here's a little bit of money. Move forward, support your teachers with technology. In the area of this program here, I've seen it. It comes from Digital Promise, the League of Innovative Schools, right? It's a program that really works, engages students, builds communication, critical thinking, collaboration, all skills that we want in our strategic plan that this board has adopted, right? There are things here that freak people out, but the communication started this way. I brought the topic up to each of the board members. We've communicated to the board through the Monday memo about this process. This isn't the first week we've had this. We've been talking about this for multiple weeks, almost months. We had conversations with principals. At the beginning of the year, I was not going to include El Granada because I thought El Granada needed a little bit of a break because I thought those teachers were going to be moved, and I really wanted to be empathetic to those teachers that have to move classrooms. And then it was one day, and I spoke to the principals, is this something you would like? Jeff Clinton, absolutely. We were going to start with 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And it started from a conversation from the robotics team, the Dills, that I had a conversation with this robotics club that we have at the high school, right? And so, in my mind, we were lacking some of the technology pieces here at Cabrillo. So I had a conversation with principals. They said yes. Jeff said yes. Amy said yes, I'm interested in it, right? David Jones said absolutely. Aaron, I said, Aaron, I'm not going to, I made the call. I said, Aaron, I'm not going to do it for your site. A couple days later, I drove to the school site and I said, Aaron, tell me, after I saw what the 4th and 5th grade teachers had unpacked, and they're there forever, right? They're in their permanent classrooms. I thought, wow, maybe I made a mistake. So I said, Aaron, she goes, I was going to talk to you about this. We want to do it too. So then I said, that's great. She wanted to do it. But then we asked our fourth, the challenge, Mr. Castillo asked his principals, go ask your teachers, because that's who it's going to impact, right? It's going to be great for kids, but it's going to impact. My understanding is they asked every single teacher, and they were all for it. Is that correct, Mr. Castillo?
Yes, that's correct.
So we had teachers on board understanding what we were going to be doing here, right? So the communication's there. We have a letter that's drawn up, ready to go tomorrow. I'm not going to send something out to the community without this board approving this. The letter's going out tomorrow. It's in Spanish and English, and it says, this is what we're doing. We've already talked to Kate Strauss, who's our communications person, that's going to talk about this epic build. She's starting to write articles that we're submitting to Coastside News. We did one for the principal for a day. She's going to do some of this stuff as well. And we'll be working with the high school when we have these epic dates to where Mr. Pat Olson, the one who does the video, that will start doing the videos so we can get to the broader community. We'll invite community members into to see the epic builds. I've seen this stuff happen in kindergarten. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to start in kindergarten, where they use block coding, and kids are using block coding to move things, right? So it's a skill set that I think we owe it to these kids in this community, all kids. Right now, if you want robotics, you've got to go to the Boys and Girls Club. Mark and I had a conversation early this year when we first came on board. He said, what are you looking at doing? Right? And I explained that we were looking at the elementary, so he was starting with the middle school. I also want to build into the middle school, so we talk about a long-term plan. I want to look at the middle school, look at our pathways, work with our teachers there to see who's interested in something like this. We're looking at the pathways with career technical education and strong workforce. How can we build this up to the high school? Now, I'm not expecting every kid to be a robotics engineer, but I don't know that unless they have the opportunities. There's three things. You explore in your primary grades when it comes to career-connected classroom. You explore, you expand in middle school, and you experience in high school. We're not giving the kids the opportunity to do so. Right now, kids are learning AI through social media, through whatever they're on. I want to flip the switch, and I'd rather have our educators sitting side by side with experts to teach the proper uses of AI, because guess what? I think it was 30% of the workforce, they say right now, uses AI in their work every day, if not more. And this is coming from the national labor statistics. I don't have it with me. So I just want to make sure that people understand that the rationale. Again, I was talking to one of our members, we were talking about why wasn't this presented to all the rest of the school staff? I take it, I'm the superintendent, maybe I should have had our principal say, hey, by the way, make sure that everybody on the campus knows what's happening. I'm learning about Cabrillo as well. But I was thinking, talking to some colleagues, I know that if somebody had said something to the English department, the PE department's not going to run over and say, what did they say to you? We didn't get it. It just doesn't happen, right? It's a good thing for kids. We talk about putting kids first. This is a great thing for kids. This is money that hasn't been used, or it was used differently, and it's a learning block grant. It's a one-time thing. When it's done, it's done. The goal here is, if we need to have additional, then we have a time frame within 3 years to say, yeah, we're going to take a little bit of money from because it's about $100. Well, it's $419,000 over 5 years. It's about $83,000 a year. That's what we pay for our music person, or our music group that used to come out and do music and art for our elementary schools. We used to pay about $100,000 for one of the agencies that we would partner with that didn't really work out. We hired another agency, and this agency just hired the person that was working with us before, but just went to the different agency, right? So again, that opportunity for our students to have these things. Our teachers don't have the skill sets to teach this. I just can't wait. I don't want to wait any longer. I want to engage our students. I want our students to have the opportunity to move forward.
I appreciate that explanation.
Wait, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you know, the letter already went out.
Well, the letter was not supposed to go out. It was supposed to go out tomorrow.
So I think that is why I got a lot of the communication, is why are we receiving it before board approval?
Well, and again, message discipline is really important. I was told that one letter went out today by accident to one classroom, and the principal was trying to collect it.
Okay. I mean, I support the initiative, and I agree with everything that you said about the importance of introducing this to our schools. My thought was, I just wanted to ensure that some process was followed so that the school site administrators and the teachers did have some input. It sounds like they did. It doesn't sound like it's outrageous cost per student. So I'm on board, and I just want to confirm, we are going to make an effort to try and match the technology that will be needed to do this, because that's a critical piece too. If we don't follow through with that, then this is sort of all for now.
Then I'm going to hear, that's the Cabrillo way, right? I don't want that. I don't want that, right? I want to make sure that we have these Chromebooks, and Israel has already met with Stig about making sure that we have adequate Chromebooks for this program.
So when it comes to thoroughfare through like what we're doing at the elementary, middle, high school, I do believe our 7th and 8th grade STEAM class at Cunha has robotics. So it would be nice to make sure that it's communicating so that it can be built upon from 4th and 5th grade. I think Mr. Murray teaches that class. I am very excited about, okay, I'm like coding, whatever. I am not a tech person, but when I was PTO president at El Granada, I had wanted to bring some type of technology education to El Granada because I just thought it was, well, at the time, the other elementary schools kind of had a theme, and I was told El Granada didn't have one. I'm not even gonna comment about that comment, but it was just like, oh, okay, and it was difficult to make that happen, and I'm very excited about this. I think it's great clarification that the money is from a block grant. It's one-time funds. This is, we're using money that was given to us, kind of finally, and I believe it's 2 years that we'll have someone from the program, okay, alongside with our teachers. And I am hopeful that then once teachers take over, like wholly, I guess, after the 2 years, they will feel prepared. I think that is one of my biggest concerns, is that teachers feel supported in adding another thing that they have to teach our students, because music is someone's brought in, so I just want to make sure that's also at the forefront, is the teachers feeling supported in giving our children something so needed.
And we have identified employees, current employees right now that probably could do this work, that could sit with teachers and be that specialist, I should say, because we have those science specialists, art specialists, right? We have those we've identified. We're going to have conversations, but we want to get this thing rolling. And so, the goal, yes, is, and have I seen it? I've seen it. Westminster, Cajon Valley is another big one. The World of Work, David Machiro, the work that he has done in his district, unbelievable what that small little district has done at the national scale. And they started with Code with Future, and they started working with what is the World of Work look like. And you can take a look at it, but for me, I think, yes, we want to be able to support our teachers, and we have a game plan. Again, we've got 3 years between now and then. We can assess teachers midway through, which is after year 1. Then year 2, do we need? Yes, we do. We can find it in the LCAP or there'll be other block grants that come through, right? We just need to make sure that we communicate with teachers to support them, and we hear from them what are their needs as well.
Are we ready? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes 4+2.
All right, that takes us to item 5C, the approval of designing schools, artificial intelligence professional development for secondary schools for the 2025-2026 school year.
And for this one, I'll start with the research that Ramon mentioned earlier. So the World Economic Reform Report for 2025, research states that by 2030, which is not that far away, 39% of the work core and skills for employees will be changing and haven't been identified. So basically, by allowing us the opportunity to bring AI, we're supporting the students to think critically. And this is what we're trying to do with the AI for the middle school and high school. It is professional development to enhance our teaching and learning. I've had the opportunity to sit in it, and I've learned quite a bit. Actually, right now I have myself, David Jones, and also Deanna preparing some presentation, because not all the principals are attending, but we found some useful resources that can support us. You can have lesson plans within 10 seconds. You just use the AI, type in the standards, it'll provide you with a lesson, independent practice, practices to do with partners, activities to engage English learners. It's all in one packet. That's only one small component of the delivery of these tools. Right now, what we are doing is we're allowing collaboration. We realized that it was very difficult for individuals to attend the 10 days, so we're in the process of restructuring. Dr. Saba, she's very good in what she does. A lot of companies are not able to adjust and make modifications according to the needs of the district. This is one of the reasons she was selected. She is able to fill the collaboration of the whole group. Right now, we have a lot of administrators, counselors, and 4 teachers. We wish we had more teachers, but I know it's a large commitment for them. So we're making adjustments where we're allowing for, we're in developing the plan where we can allow 3 days so they can attend, 3 half days. They can attend mornings or afternoons, be a little bit more flexible and allow them the opportunity to at least dip into the opportunity that is coming. Principals have also shown interest in bringing additional professional development through their Super Friday. So they've been surveying their teachers, communicating. There's a lot of interest in AI, but the delivery model is changing as we're moving forward. We're adjusting, we're tweaking things around, and we're making sure that everybody is involved. We're also trying to align with our priorities. We're working on developing goals. Before we started this, Ramon, Deanna, and myself thought, do we develop the goals, or is it something that we do as a group? Developing a goals aside from the group would not make sense. It's better for us as a community, as leaders of the AI initiative, to develop goals together. So that's going to be part of the next steps as soon as we get more into the learning. The initial instinct is to teach in order to start developing those goals. We do have some goals. Those goals will match and also ensure that these phases are taken appropriately. So we have 3 phases that are being aligned to deliver the process of prioritizing and understanding. We have to focus on the unique qualities of the various programs. The first session that we attended was more developing the responsibilities, taking the AI and understanding how we learn, how individuals can find it as a solution, not as a tool, not as an enemy. There's a lot of times where, oh, he cheated because he used AI. You still have to be the designer of the AI in order to spit out the information. You have to tell it what you want, how to do it. You have to be able to express yourself with the digital device. Let's see. And planning with the team, we were able to align with our CUS vision and mission. The initiative is fundamental, strengthening our core pillars of Cabrillo Unified School District, ensuring that our students are prepared for college and career readiness with an AI-powered world, which will provide critical thinking, innovative and adaptivity like I mentioned, for those jobs that we don't even know that exist yet. Self-directed learning, collaboration, communication, and excitement for learning. We're not at that phase yet to engage the students yet. First, we need to learn as educators on how we're going to do it and what tools we're going to use. All those students are already using it. So one of the things we discussed is doing a survey to see how many other things students are using, so we can also learn how to use those specific instruments.
Does this
This
need a
is-
motion?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
I had multiple people reach out to me about this as well. I'm glad we pulled it out of the consent agenda so we could discuss it and hear an explanation. Similar to the curriculum, I don't feel like it's my role to interject myself in training decisions. This makes sense. I've had some time this afternoon to look into it. One of my initial concerns was it seemed very expensive, but in talking to Dr. Miramontes and then doing my own research, this would be expensive where I work, but it's in line with what other school districts do for training. So I don't have a major issue with this, and I support it.
I also was reached out to quite a bit, especially about the time frame. And so I really love hearing that you're looking at different opportunities, because there's several staff members, I'll say, who would love to learn about AI, but the timing was 10 days out of school. So thank you so much for looking into restructuring that a bit so others can get excited about it also. And then the fiscal analysis, and I know that the $60,000 is for the contract. That doesn't include the substitutes. And I know, and this is probably one of those, like, this is what the memo has what it needs, but I guess I feel caught off guard when then I'm asked about the other costs related to this. So I don't know if there's a way to be like, hey, this is the cost, and this is coming out of Title II funds, so also this is a line item restricted for certain things, primarily professional development, and it's within the budget for this year. But when there's those outlier costs, I know, well, okay, I have to be careful. I don't want to instruct anyone to do anything.
No, I hear
Okay.
and,
Sorry.
and the information here, again, we're all learning, right? We're all learning together, and there's no right or wrong way. Again, I want to give Deanna, Israel, David, and that crew of people that sat together. And again, Dr. Quidry, Digital Promise, League of Innovative Schools, Apple Distinguished Educator, has a list of international conferences, local conferences, state, national. But she is super flexible, right? Super flexible, wants people to really enjoy the teaching and learning, the empathy of teaching and learning. She is a teacher at heart. Social studies got bumped out because of, in 2008, when we released a bunch of teachers, right? So when it comes to soft costs, other costs, right? If we have 4 teachers, or we really planned for, I think, 14, because we asked the principals, how many do you think you can get? Ask principals. We think we can get, I think they wanted the social studies and language arts at the high school, and I think here, because they had already started some AI stuff, they thought, well, great, we'll do the science teachers here and somebody else, I forgot who it was. But I think it came down to 4 or 6, and then we added some counselors and some administrators as well. So they need to be at the front line as well. So we can add that. It's $180 every time we have subs. But the $60,000 is, we have a contract on here for CABE that is for $40,000, not being pulled off. It's $5,000, 8 sessions. We're pulling teachers out there. We're paying for subs as well because we want input. We're meeting with parents as well. There's another contract on here for mathematical framework that we did. Every single teacher got mathematical framework training, except for, I think, 2 grade levels. We still have to do 2 more grade levels, but it was 7 days, $7,000. And I think there were 2 sessions, AM and PM, or all day. I forget what it was. This guy set it all up.
Yeah, it was all day.
Yeah.
all day for each grade level.
And it's something that they've been wanting. We're going to be adopting a new math curriculum, so let's get out in front of it. Let's let them know what the frameworks are all about before they start piloting things. So that was $7,000 a day for the contractor, right? We can work with the county. The county's been great, but the county's also overbooked. And they don't have the skill sets for AI. They don't, we asked, right? And so I want to point out there's a couple others. We could include it. I know that Israel included all the costs in the Monday memo. I read the Monday memos. They had all the information there. We've had conversations in our one-on-ones. I will start to include, the cost for PD, if that would make it easier for you, to let you know there's 4 teachers out. Our daily rate's 180 or whatever. I don't know.
Quick question about that. That part of it is not necessarily unusual in terms of training. I mean, that's always going to be a factor where who's going to cover the classrooms if you're asking a teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we do it in the summer, and we are looking at a summer program, right? But I want to also honor teachers' time when they're off. Some people said, like, I'm gone, I'm out to Europe, I'm doing this and that, hiking. I want to honor that as well. So it's hard to do both, right? So, but if we get out in front of it, we talk a little bit about it, maybe we captured 90% of the staff one way and then 10% the other way. Thank you.
Adding to the professional development, there's also sometimes that we offer opportunities for teachers to go to the San Mateo County Office of Education. There's no cost, but there's also that piece that we have to provide subs. And those don't require approval. We still offer those to teachers. And to answer but to add a little bit to your request, it's not that we are learning, but we are improving as we move. We were on a point where financial analysis were included in the budget, or it will be coming from the LCAP. Now we are asking for more information. So we are learning, we are improving. Oh, and this is a action. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes 4+2.
All right, this takes us to item 4, communications. Do we have any public comments on? Nope.
No public comments.
Okay. All right, that takes us to item 4B, employee organizations report. Thank you. Come on down. CUTA representative.
What grade level are you representing with that jersey? I need to know that.
So this week, as Maverick mentioned, this week is homecoming week. Every day was a different decade. And rather than spend time, I have an 8-year-old at home, so I don't get to run to the thrift store every time I need to pick out an outfit. So I went sports jerseys by decades. So I went 70s, 80s, 90s, and then this is 2000s. So that was one of my comments I was going to say. I'm normally not dressed like this in front of the board, but it is important that, to kind of reemphasize how much teacher buy-in is so important to the things that happen on campus. As I said, this week is homecoming week, and yesterday we had the giant relay, as Maverick mentioned, and there were many of the teachers that were involved. What was really fun for me as a veteran teacher was we had a number of parent volunteers that came, and a number of them I spoke to that had been there as students, and we're talking about how important those events are as far as building memories and building spirit and connection to the school and so on. Another great opportunity for CUTA with the community is this week is parent conferences at the elementary schools, and it helps them build relationships with families, and it helps them to, as we know, it's not just the teachers that are involved in education, it's the families and the cooperation to educate the young people. I want to thank the board members that I've had an opportunity to meet with and talk about the construction. I got to meet with Drew and talk about the construction. And I think it's really important that we're continuing to get the input of the teachers, because that's going to be our workplace. And as I've talked about before, and I talked about with in the individual meetings, I'm in the maybe I don't know. I haven't really mapped out square footage, but I think I'm in one of the biggest classrooms, if not the biggest classroom on campus. And it really makes my job easy having that kind of space. And this morning, I'm talking to a student, and he had come to the back of the room where my desk was, and he said, "Wow, you've got a really big room." And he said, "It took me a long time to get back here." And I said, "Yeah, that's true, I do." And he goes, "But it's cool." And he's kind of looking around, and he says, "You got space for everything you need." I said, "Yes, that's true." And I said, "I'm going to use that tonight." And he said, "What?" And I explained to him, and he said, "That's good." And he said, "My dad approved," which was really kind of funny because he's the son of a student that I taught my very first year. And I said, "Do me a favor, go home and ask Dad, what was it like physically in the room? Not like being in Mr. Carey's room when he was just a rookie teacher and he didn't know what he was doing, but more of like physically in the space and how well that worked." And the first thought I had was, in my room now, I have space between me and my students. In my first room, I did not. I have space between me at the podium and the wall behind me. In my first class, I did not. I could not put my foot back behind me without kicking the wall in my first classroom. And of course, as a brand new rookie teacher, I didn't have a whole lot of stuff as far as curriculum went and as far as materials went. But now I do. And I think teachers, as we've been talking about, we need that space for that kind of stuff. So if we keep that in mind, I think it's going to be a fantastic thing. I started looking at Drew's projections and so on, and I'm like, dang, I might be retired. I might not ever get a new classroom. My wife says, I got to keep going until my son's in college, so that's 10 more years. And I'm like, I don't have 10 more years in me. But anyway, thank you very much for your cooperation, and let's just keep the communication open. I think it's been very helpful, and it's been terrific, getting to talk to you all one-on-one. Thank you.
Thank you. This takes us, no other, CSEA representative here today? All right, that takes us to item 5, the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are of a routine nature and are not anticipated for board discussion. The superintendent recommends their approval. If any board member requests the removal of an item from the consent agenda, it shall be taken off and individually considered as a regular item. The consent agenda requires a motion, a second, and approval by a roll call vote. Each item approved by the governing board on the consent agenda is considered in full and adopted as recommended. All right.
Okay, there is a revision to item 5N. It says, you have a copy.
Okay.
Is the purchase of 3 Megalam school buses. We originally had 2, but it's only 1 wheelchair bus.
Okay.
And 2 ambulatory buses. That's the correction. So with that, I request motion and second.
Just real quick, does that change the estimate on any of those? No, okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Pete. Carmen?
Aye.
Lisette is absent today. Pete?
Aye.
Brianna?
Aye.
Mary Beth?
Aye.
Martin?
Aye.
Passes 5 plus 1. 4 plus 1.
All right. This takes us to item 6, governing board reports from our board members. Anybody want to go first?
I can go. I don't have very much. I was just thinking, we were talking earlier about the solar and, saying like it's not in the plans at the high school, but like El Granada, maybe we should think about El Granada because when we do the solar, it's bond money spent, that'll help us save money out of our general fund, so, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, and other than that, I just wanted to briefly say, it's been nice, the county had a talk last week. Brianna and Carmen came on ICE and protocols and procedures and stuff. Is pretty interesting. So those are always great, the county talks, if we can do them. I know, Pete, you had to work. And then I just wanted to mention at our annual conference coming up in December that the couple days before the conference, they'll offer classes, like specialty classes. So last year, like Carmen took a president's class, and I took I can't remember what it was. It was I don't know, it was one of the classes. I can't do it this year because I have the delegate assembly now before, those 2 days before. But just so everybody knows that they're pretty, it might be something nice to do at our conference coming up. That's all I have.
So I'm excited. Next board meeting, we're going to do something a little bit unusual. We're going to have a conversation as a board around how we want to approach transparency as a district. And so I'm very excited about this. I wish we did more of this, because this, for people out who may be watching, we don't get a chance to talk with each other. This is it. This is our only opportunity where the five of us get to sort of share ideas and we can work through problems. So this is a priority for me because I feel like one of the reasons why I ran was because I felt like we needed better transparency, or we needed to communicate with the community better. So we'll be having a conversation, not just next week, but over the next several meetings, I would assume, thinking about what is transparency, what do we want the district to do philosophically with that. I have some ideas, and I'm sure my colleagues will as well. Some of the things I'm thinking about are like a comprehensive org chart, so that the community knows who works for the district, what do they do, who teaches my child. Those types of things can go a long way in terms of building trust and put people at ease so they know what's going on. But then other things. So one of the things that came up, I didn't ask for it to be pulled, but tonight in the consent agenda was a vote on the buses. We're going to be spending quite a bit of money on the buses, $400,000 or more. And so one of the thought I had is that maybe we should have a threshold that if something reaches a certain amount of money, we don't put it in the consent agenda, and we have an opportunity where we hear about it and the community can hear about it and we vote. So those are the types of things that we can talk about in terms of transparency and how we want to approach that as a district. So we'll be getting that next meeting, and I'm very excited about it and seeing where that goes.
I don't really have much. Except that also the San Mateo County School Board Association meeting that Mary Beth stated that being there, one, it's difficult conversations or just learning about the ICE detentions and who they are and the fear of our students and staff and community members, but that our greater San Mateo County, everyone's on the same boat. What I was heartened by, what made me feel good, is that everyone in the room felt like they were on the same page of making sure that our students and staff felt that we were standing with them and next to them, and if needed to be in front of them, and that we are supporting everyone in our community, and that it was just, I know that I feel that here. It felt really good to feel that in that larger arena. And then Faith in Action Bay Area is the group that talked to us. They have a rapid response hotline 24/7 that if you see someone detained by ICE, legal questions, like basically anything that you would need to ask, the Faith in Action Bay Area, will have it covered. They even said, if you saw someone detained by ICE or taken, because we don't always know that for sure it's ICE, and you don't know anything, you just saw it, and you can call this number and say, I saw this at this location, and then they will research it and find, and then maybe reach out to family members and help. So I just thought that was an incredible organization that everyone should know about. And that I am very excited to attend Half Moon Bay High School's homecoming assembly tomorrow. I love homecomings, and so I'm excited to see how they do it here.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah, I attended the County School Board Association meeting too, and yeah, I agree. It was so good to hear that there are organizations, support for people in that situation. That's all I've got for this month. Thank you so much. And Dr. Miramontes.
We had a nice ribbon cutting for the athletic field. You know, took some quick action there, but great. I want to thank our team, Jennifer, Drew, and everybody else that put that together from our side, and our partners at the Boys and Girls Club. That was a great ribbon cutting event. Israel and I, Mr. Steele and I attended the CEF Foundation event. I know Mary Beth was there and Pete were there also. Want to thank them for being in there. We talked with Corinne and Carrie about how we might be able to participate, maybe a round robin for a different cornhole tournament for our school sites. So we've got some ideas that might bring in, I mean, that CEF Foundation does a lot. I think that we, for our educational, for our schools, I should say. So I think we need to have a greater presence there. I'd like to see a greater presence there. They raise a lot of money for our kids, and so I think we might want to look at that as well. I'll be at Fair Longview this weekend for the Fall Harvest Festival. I do want to thank our teachers in the elementary grades. I remember my first time having a parent-teacher conference. I mean, I wasn't even a parent yet, and having that conversation about your kids, right? Like, who's this 22-year-old kid telling me about my kids? So Joan, I can empathize with our teachers, and it's never easier, even as a veteran teacher, right? But I want to thank our teachers for this week and communicating with their families. I want to thank Mrs. Segura, who's been working with the Blue Team on trying to get them to get their early childhood education units. That's fantastic. I also want to thank Carolyn Deutsch, who's been working with our paraeducators on behavior, basically like a toolkit for behaviors. She's our board-certified behavior analyst. She's new. She has a lot of great ideas, a lot of opportunities for our people. And then again, I'm learning the Cabrillo way. You know, I want to adapt. I made that suggestion to Pete about perhaps we should look at if there's a certain threshold. You know, whatever that threshold is, we bring it to the board. We pull it off of the consent before the consent. If we're going to say it's a certain amount, some things I'd like to do that. Some things when it comes to the construction thing, if we keep bringing some of that stuff, it's going to take forever, and I don't want to slow process down, but we can have that conversation. Again, I want to thank our cabinet, Jennifer and Israel, for keeping up with me. I was pointing some things out to our staff. We've done a lot in the first 6 months. I'm pushing hard, right? I think there's a lot of needs that are out there that we need to catch up with, and there are things that we need to pull away from as well. So working through that, and I want to thank them publicly for the work that we're doing. I do want to wish Bianca Forrester the best. She moved on, and she's executive director in a nearby district, and so I will be assuming the responsibilities. A letter went out to the staff today about that. Appreciate the work that she did for us, and we'll be looking for that to fill that vacancy here in the near future. In the meantime, we may reach out to some of our consultants to see if we can have somebody that might be able to help us out in the meantime. But I will assume those responsibilities. Did HR for 3 years. It's not easy, but we'll just add that to the list of things that has to be done. So I want to thank the board for that.
I missed something the fall festival, there will be a few familiar faces in the dunk tank, if anyone is excited to go check that out.
I need to bring some baseball players to throw to the fall festival then.
All right, thank you. This takes us to item 7, closed session. We have some student matters, employee matters, labor negotiation issues to discuss. Are there any public comments on closed session items?
None.
All right. That takes us to C, adjournment to our closed session. Thank you so much.
After closed session, we have to reconvene and open to report and to vote on one of the items. Thank you.
Okay.